I think, okay, we are what you do, and with your company is Movement for Life, right?
That's correct, yes.
All right, tell us a little bit more.
So I'm in the field of natural pain management, and what I do is help people who have struggled with chronic pain. That they've gone through multiple routes, the traditional doctor and medication. Some people have had injections, even surgeries, been through maybe chiropractic or massage, and
Yeah.
just they've gone through all these different avenues. They've tried exercising, they've tried stretching, they've tried resting, and they just haven't gotten better.
Shoot.
And by trade, I'm a physical therapist, but what I do anymore is so different from what you would recognize as physical therapy. I don't really even brand it as that.
Really?
Because there's a physical component to it.
Okay.
I did my doctorate of physical therapy, and then 2.5 years of fellowship training in manual physical therapy, which is hands-on treatment skills. And you learn a lot of techniques, which are nice and good, and they give people very quick relief. But you can get that from a massage therapist or a chiropractor, and they work very, very well. But the problem is they're temporary, and a lot of the effects of manual therapy, they wear off in 15 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
And so after doing this for, it's probably been, I've been a therapist for 11 years, but it's probably been in the last 3-ish or so years that I really kind of realized that, okay, people are just kind of running this mill. That yes, with these advanced skills, that I can now get people quicker, faster than I used to, but if I don't teach them how to maintain that on their own, they're just going to be in that cycle of coming back and coming back and coming back.
Right.
And so kind of looked into it, took a lot more education in chronic pain and what drives that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more than just physical. It's a mindset thing. It's a cognitive, it's emotional, spiritual, physical. It encompasses a whole person.
Wow.
And when you just look at, okay, do you have a herniated disc in your back, or do you have a sprained ligament in your knee? You're really missing the boat. That pain physiologically is your body's message to you that you've got to do something. That something's not right, and it's a driver to take action. And so when you take that appropriate action, whatever that is, whether that be physical, moving different, whether it be sleeping more, whether it be eating better, whether it be managing stress better, if you can find that driver, that thing that your body's trying to tell you, hey, do something about this, and you actually do it, the pain goes away.
So you're saying that you actually have to do something about it, huh?
Yes, it's all great in theory, but
right.
I think we mentioned that on the earlier show.
Right, yeah. Dr. Dave was on the morning show earlier as well. But so tell me a little bit more about your family as well, because we'll circle back around a little more and dig deeper into that. But tell me a little bit more about your family and what your family life looks like.
Yeah, so I am married. I've been married for 10 years in December. So we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. We have a 6-year-old daughter named Corinne, who's in kindergarten. And, becoming a dad totally changed my world. We had some difficulty having a child. And so when we found out finally that we were going to have one, it was amazing. And, all through the pregnancy, up until we actually had the sonogram that tells you what sex it is, we thought it was going to be a boy. Everyone said it was going to be a boy. I was the one that said, no, it's going to be a girl, just because everyone else is being a boy, says it's going to be a boy, so I'm just going to be the odd man out.
Yeah.
And we ended up having a girl, so I found out we're going to have a girl. I'm like, oh my God.
What do
we're
I do?
We're going to have a girl. What do I do? And, they always say there's no handbook for parenthood, but there is no handbook for parenthood. It's kind of a learn as you go type of thing.
Right.
And, the on-the-job training never quits. So, you invited me on this show to say, you call it business success or business owner dad success. And, I'm figuring it out as I go. So I don't know that I can tell you all the tips and secrets, but
sometimes it's just day by day, right? Like
totally.
you take the wins of the day and you go with it, right?
Well, any small wins are small wins.
Right. So you've got a 6-year-old. You've been married for, you said, 10 years, right?
Correct.
How long have you had your business?
2 years officially,
2 years.
And it's kind of recently undergone a metamorphosis too. We've lived in St. Louis for just a little over 2 years.
Wow.
And we moved here in February 2017, so I guess it's exactly 2 years.
So you started your business from scratch whenever you moved here and building those relationships from scratch, or did you at least have some relationships in St. Louis to build off of?
Really, it was more or less from scratch.
Wow.
When we moved here, I guess it's probably only been 1.5 years in the business now. I started working for a private practice all through my career up to then. I had been in hospital systems and corporate practices, and there's so much bureaucracy and just running people through, making numbers, and that complexity that I talked about before. You just can't get that in a 30-minute session. Hey, how you doing? Do your exercise this week. You should do get out the door, and then let me get on to my next person.
Right.
And so I really wanted to, when we moved to St. Louis, get away from that and be able to spend more time one-on-one with people. So I joined a private practice, and that was quickly bought out by a hospital system.
Oh.
And I thought, I can't do it. And fortunately, I found another business, which is actually local here in Webster Groves, that took me on as an independent contractor, and I was so thankful for them for doing that. But over the year or so, we just found out that our business philosophies differed a little bit, and so great people. But as of January, I officially now I'm out on my own, and now in Manchester and 141. So kind of learning it all over again.
So last month.
Yeah.
Wow. So you really kind of started your own practice, building your own practice with a little bit of help, I guess, working with that independent contractor. But I mean, with a fresh new network, a network that you were trying to build with a young child. I mean, she's 6, so she was about 4 or 5. I mean, kind of going into this.
She was 4 when we moved here.
Yeah. So a lot of pressure probably on the family, on you, on everything. And actually, just last week we were talking to somebody who kind of moved, but they kind of moved into an established business. Yours was, and it is still kind of brand new and fresh.
That was the plan, to move into an established business, and best laid plans. You know what they say.
Right. So what are you doing right now to try to not only build a business, but also still trying to maintain family life and those relationships? I mean, is there anything specific that you guys are doing? I mean, is there something that you guys just always enjoy doing, so you always make time for? What does that look like for you?
Well, one of the main drivers actually to kind of breaking out on my own in January was that I realized that there was a lack of control of my own time. I was officially in my own business, but I was kind of working I didn't have control of my own schedule. I didn't have control of my own time. So I found I was working, 18 hours a day sometimes, not seeing patients that whole time, but between marketing and doing notes and networking and all that stuff, just it was spiraling out of control. And it had a big wake up call that my daughter said to me, from the mouth of babes, right? They don't hold anything back, Daddy, you work too much. Daddy, you're gonna get fired. And she didn't mean for my job, right? That's a big wake up call. And so now having my time freedom, I'm there in the morning most days when I'm not here with you in the morning.
Right.
I get to see her go off to school and get on the bus, which is something I'd never done. I'd always been gone before she woke up and home at dinner time and a couple hours in the evening.
Yeah.
If I don't have patients, like today I have a later afternoon, so I'll get home shortly after she gets off the bus and see her then. And so really having that time freedom is a huge thing that I define as success, and it's a big motivation to be your own boss, is that money, you can always make more money, but time, it's like that movie In Time, if you remember that from a couple of years ago. Time's your ultimate currency, and once it's gone, you can't get it back. You can't get those years. So I feel like I've missed so much of her life already, just being the only breadwinner in the family, and the money's not that important.
Right. No, that is an insightful view, because whenever you talk about time, it sounds to me like if we were to kind of jump into the head of your 6-year-old and how she defines success, it's more time with daddy, right?
She's getting to the point now where she kind of understands what money is and that it buys things.
Yeah.
But you can't tell a 2-year-old daddy's not around because he's out making money so we can have a house and we can have food, and you try to do that, but all they know is mommy's here, daddy's not.
Yeah.
Mommy spends time with me, daddy doesn't.
Yeah.
Daddy works all the time, daddy values work more than me. And I feel horrible that she's been through that, but
right.
There's just, that can't go on any longer, so making it a priority to spend more time at home with family.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, you talk about the abundance mindset. That, through that first year of the business, I was always worried. Well, we got to make it work. What if there's not enough patients? What if we don't have enough money? Yeah. And when you just start putting the things first that really matter, stuff just comes out of the woodwork. I mean, so much stuff has manifested in the last. Officially I opened in January, but really kind of the last 2 months, kind of working on this back end stuff. And so much has manifested itself out of the past 2 months that when you just trust that things are going to work out and there's going to be enough, that God's always taken care of you in the past and that he's going to take care of you in the future. When you let go of that control, stuff just works out. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that. So, you said you kind of put some of the more important things first. Like what are some of those things that are more important than worrying about, the dollar? Is it like relationship building, like with your network? What does that look like?
Yeah. So I mean, relationships. Gosh, that's humans are social beings, right?
Yeah.
You look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you have your food and your water and your shelter and all those things. But then you have your social needs, but nowhere in there is money. That's kind of a man-made concept.
Yeah.
And so, building relationships, number one, starting in the family, strengthening those relationships that have been neglected because of just time and worrying about making enough. Are we going to be able to pay all the bills? And we've never struggled to pay our bills, but there's always that worry that I gotta provide, because that's what the man is supposed to do, right?
Right.
But when you just start putting those values first, it overflows into all areas of your life. So you start acting differently towards patients. It's not intentional, but your being, it just kind of resonates through. And in networking, that's where we met. It was at a networking event.
Right. Yeah.
And you just come off with this more energy, just as a better person, and you're more likable, and people gravitate to that.
Yeah.
And you've seen my bio. I have so many letters behind my name. Is ridiculous, but nobody cares about that. They care about that they feel cared about. That somebody takes the time to listen to them. That they've been to the doctor's office and it seems like the doctor's always ready to run out. Here, take this pill. I got to get on to my next person, and it's not the doctor's fault. It's the healthcare system, but. To feel listened to and appreciated and valued, to be able to go out and network and truly just try to help other people out without worrying about, well, what am I going to get back from it? Is this going to create business for me?
Right.
Just giving for the sake of giving itself, and that comes around full circle. It's not like, hey Matt, I send you a client, you send me a client.
Yeah.
It's, I'm going to help people out wherever I can, and people are going to recognize that and recognize that, I'm a genuinely helpful, caring person, and that's going to come around full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's, I do a lot of networking as well, and there's people who kind of, run around, they hope to grab some business, kind of throwing some cards around, but it seems like really it's about relationships, and really just developing so there's, I don't know if you know Joseph Leckett, but
I sure do. He was all over social media yesterday with his new book.
Right,
In fact, we're meeting for coffee this afternoon.
Right, yeah.
Imagine that.
But he talks about relationships. I guess I'm saying that correctly, but yeah, and how critical that is. So it's something that you're finding to be true, right? That the business seems to come as you develop good relationships with people around you, right?
Totally, and it's not a one-time thing.
Yeah.
You have to show up over and over and over and keep strengthening those same relationships. You're not going to meet someone one time and they're ready to send all their family and friends to come see you.
Right.
You have to be genuine and open and build those relationships over time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how do you instill that with the kids? I mean, obviously with your daughter, kid, right? So obviously, you're spending time with her as well, but how do you foster other relationships in her life? I mean, other family members, do you give her time to play with, kids and have sleepovers and that kind of stuff? I mean, how do you develop teach her to develop those other relationships around her?
Boy, by nature, my wife and I are both kind of naturally introverted.
Okay.
Being in a social profession, I've had to learn how to come out of that. But, it takes energy.
It does.
And, I need my alone time to kind of refresh and do myself. But, man, she's like a social butterfly. And if she didn't look like a dead ringer on me, I'd start to wonder. But,
Must have been like a passive gene or something like that.
Yeah, I guess it was a recessive gene because she sure didn't get it from either of us.
Yeah.
She just naturally connects with people, and we haven't quite crossed the sleepover route yet, although she's been asking about it.
Right.
So that's coming sometime soon in the future. But, she seeks out relationships with other people. She makes friends really easily.
But it can be kind of probably hard for you guys being both introverts. You kind of like, let's just let's not go out to the birthday party, right? But you still try to get her to the birthday parties, right?
No, I mean, her needs always come first.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's that voice in the back of your head though, as an introvert, like, I don't really want to go to the birthday party, but I guess we should for her sake, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's there.
That's fantastic. So as you look at your family and your wife, what she wants out of life, and your daughter, what she seems to want out of life, how do you guys define success as a family unit? What does that look like? I mean, is it more traveling, a bigger house? Is it just going on more picnics together? What does that look like?
Boy, it's such a vague term. Yeah. I think happiness and not having to worry are big things.
So that security aspect, okay.
Right.
Yeah. Go back to Maslow.
it doesn't have to be, we don't have to drive the fanciest cars and go on the fanciest vacations. Gosh, we need to go on a vacation because we really haven't been in a long time.
Yeah.
But a true vacation. But, we don't need all the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
But we want to have our basic needs met and not have to worry about, well, is there going to be money to buy food next week? If I need to, get my daughter, a new coat for her school, is she going to have to wear one that's 2 sizes too small, or can we get her something? It doesn't have to be Gucci handbags and all the fancy stuff, but functional and not having to worry about it. And I was raised in a comfortable household. We never had to worry about putting food on the table. But my parents were both raised in rather poor households, and their parents grew up in the Depression, and that always came through as kind of that scarcity mindset of that, we have enough, but we're going to conserve, we're going to save, and frugality is good, but I became cheap. I mean, I got raised to be cheap, and when I started realizing, and I credit my wife for this, is she opened my eyes to this. Just why are you living this way? When I stopped worrying so much about conserving, stuff just naturally came.
Interesting.
The same thing with relationships and business, that when you're not trying to just scrounge for whatever you can get and hold on to whatever you have, things just naturally come about better. And I can't explain that. But, so being happy and having time to spend together. I think my daughter values that more than anything else. Is that having that time with Daddy is way more important than having the neatest, coolest, fanciest toy.
And I think that as you're talking, you're kind of alluding to getting rid of the worry and the concern of the next buck, and just trying to enjoy and have kind of a sense of peace. So would you say that coming at it from that abundance mentality, kind of that sense of of a really kind of a more peaceful, restful state, that makes the quality of your time better as well? So it's not just the amount of time; it's that the quality of your time. Would you say that affects that?
Yes, I totally would. I mean, you need quantity time too, especially with children. I mean, you need to actually be present. You can't just have a few good moments. But yeah, the quantity and the quality together have both gotten better. But like you were saying, just kind of that more of a peaceful mindset.
Yeah.
I realized in my business that when I'm dealing with people with chronic pain, that there's a lot of anxiety, depression, worry, fear. Those are all drivers that research has shown over and over and again, and are big factors that keep people from recovering from pain, as well as pretty much every medical condition there is.
Yeah.
And so, I teach people a lot more like meditation and mindfulness and living in the moment. And, I've been doing that for a couple of years, but then I just kind of realized that I'm not doing that myself.
Oh, man.
And when I started practicing what I was preaching, it actually does work.
Whoa, right, yeah. Well, it's that whole, like, cobbler's children has no shoes thing, right?
Right.
Like, we're so busy helping other people that sometimes it's hard to, like, kind of look in the mirror like, oh, wait, I need to do this for myself, right?
Exactly.
We get so focused on others. So that's, it's good that you kind of have your own success story in that, too. I mean, I know that I'll catch myself, I talk about time and all that stuff, and I'll catch myself even, like, checking the next, voicemail or whatever, whenever I'm supposed to be playing with my daughter, so we all have to constantly be checking ourselves and making sure that we're having that quality of time, and as you're talking about there. But we've only got a couple more minutes left. So I was wondering if you could just kind of recap a little bit more about kind of how you help people, and then also just tell people how they can get a hold of you if they'd like more information.
Sure. Essentially I help people make better choices. Like I mentioned, I do have a lot of hands-on techniques, manipulation, soft tissue therapy, dry needling, that help people get out of pain quickly. But really where my passion has become is empowering people and teaching them how they can control their pain over the long term, so that it goes away quickly and doesn't come back, and then they don't get on that roller coaster.
Excellent.
To get in touch with me, I'm online on the social platforms. Facebook is probably the one where I'm most active. You can find me online at m4lpt.com. That's movement, 4lifept.com. Or by phone at 314-941. 314-941-3970.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, this has been Time for Success, Business Owner Dad's Edition, and really appreciate your time here today, Dr. Dave. And it's been so great listening more about kind of how you help with all the different areas, from the physical to some of the mental and spiritual, to really help people live a more successful life pain-free. So thank you.
Thanks for having me on the show, Matt.
Have a good one. All right. And hey, Lauren, Chris. Good to see you. Say hi to Dave. Dave,
Hey.
say hi. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, there.